Welcome back to the channel, Pink Emery Media, for this episode of Reality Armchair Survivor Season 48, Episode 7. On today's wall, we have, can you explain why we chose the color white and cream?
Well, we chose white because I saw that the new tribe name is Neonai, and they never said it, but in Chinese that means milk. So I thought we could do white for
So we
milk.
have some white covers, we have more of a cream, we got Fleetwood Mac's Rumors, Mac Miller's Circles, and Lana Del Rey's Did You Know That There's an Ocean Under, or Did You Know That There's a Tunnel Under Ocean Boulevard alternative art cover. And then Radiohead's A Moon-Shaped Pool.
Is that the one you haven't listened to yet?
That's the only Radiohead record I haven't listened to yet, and it's only because it's their last. I mean, it might be their last. I mean, it is technically their last, but it might forever be their last. I think that was released in 2016, so it's coming up on almost a decade, and I don't have the heart to listen to it, especially because it's widely regarded as their saddest album, and I gotta find a perfect year.
Well, and if you watched our album
Oh yeah,
reactions, we do have a Radiohead one.
we do have a Radiohead one, and we have a In Rainbows one. I think my favorite ones that haven't been uploaded yet are In Rainbows and Missed 'Em Around the Big Steppers.
We filmed those, what, 2.5 years ago?
2.5 years ago when you were still pregnant, and I will probably get them out at some point before the end of this year. Those are really long videos, especially Missed 'Em Around the Big Steppers. That one's like 3 hours unedited. So we are on audio platforms like Spotify and Apple Music or Apple Podcasts, if that is easier for you. If you liked the video, or if you watched it all the way through, tell us what you think. Tell us what you think about our opinions or any predictions. Like and subscribe. I think we're just gonna get into it.
Are you forgetting what happened?
No, I was gonna give like a teaser to how I felt about it, but I think I'm pretty middle of the road. I think actually no, I hated this episode.
My first thought is I am officially mad at the Survivor editors. I feel like they are doing this to us every single episode, so now it's becoming predictable that they're tricking us on who is going to be voted out, and then you're supposed to be left like blindsided, I think, as an audience, but
it's just lying.
It's just straight up lying because they're not showing conversations that I'm sure are actually filmed. So
yeah,
they're just leading us as the audience to believe.
Well, I think the worst offender was, or like the first time I really realized, like, well, you guys are straight up lying to us, was what vote was it?
I mean,
it was like 3 episodes ago.
Yeah.
But that one was really bad. I think it was the one where it was they got Thomas out, maybe. I could be wrong. But anyway, yeah, the editing has been pretty deceiving, and I think the result of these, because for this episode it is a double elimination, or what is it called? The snuffing out of torches. 2 people gone out.
2 people getting voted out.
I think they did it last season, right?
Yeah, we've seen this before.
I was gonna say I think I've only remembered one time though, because I remember Sifu got out in a double elimination, and he didn't make the merge, and then the person who was on the other group did make the merge. Has it happened more than once? I feel like that was the first time last season. Okay, well maybe they did it a while ago.
I think it's happened more than once. But...
Well, I think it's an interesting way to go about it.
I do like it.
You do like that?
I like it, but we can talk about that a little later. So obviously they show coming back from Charity being voted out, and Cedric asked Mitch to make him laugh. He was like, I can always count on you to make me laugh. And Mitch is like, I am not the one to ask right now, because Mitch is actually like really upset over Charity leaving. And that
he's been blindsided twice. Every vote he's been in.
He was mostly upset that he wasn't told that Charity was going home, and kind of implied that he would have voted for Charity had somebody told him that was the plan. He just didn't like being on the outs.
Which I don't think is the case. I think he would have tried to get Charity, or he would have told Charity.
I think he would have told Charity.
That's what's happening, and you got to figure something out.
Yeah. And then Mitch goes to say and kind of has a conversation with her about voting for her for the second time in a row, right?
Mitch voting for Say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Say's like, it's no worries. Like, I'm a cat with 9 lives.
I don't think she told Mitch that, but she does say
Yeah,
that.
she did.
Did she?
Yeah, she did.
Oh.
She says it later in her interview
Yeah,
as well.
that's what I remember.
Yeah, that was
I
the
must
first
have
time
been
she said
tuned
it.
out the first.
You were kind of walking around, so.
Oh.
And then Cedric's like, "Who voted for me? I don't know who voted for me. Where did that one random vote come from?"
Yeah.
And Say's just like, "I don't know. I bet it was Charity."
Which wouldn't make any sense.
Yeah, and she said she wrote Cedric in cursive on purpose so that he
Yeah,
wouldn't
which is pretty
realize.
smart.
Yeah,
I
it
think
was
if
pretty
I was
funny.
ever on this show, I'd probably for like the first half just write with my left hand. It would look horrible. I would just actually write with my left hand every single time because it'd be so inconsistent.
I would just try to change up my handwriting
I
so
don't
that
think I can
nobody
do that.
could.
I would have to switch arms. I can't change up my handwriting.
Yeah. I just thought that was interesting that she actually planned that.
Yeah, and it was all solely to just make him squirm.
Yeah, and it did.
Yeah, because she was like, he hasn't had a vote.
Yeah.
And I just really want him to feel the pressure.
And then it shows everybody in the morning sitting on the beach watching the sunrise. And they're like talking about the colors, and they don't even pan over to show us what the sunrise looks
Which was
like.
crazy, yeah.
Like, I want to watch the sunrise too.
They were hyping it up and they didn't even like show it.
I think they had a brief view of it, very brief, but
well, and based off of the reflection from them, it didn't look like that crazy, but
I mean, it would be really nice to sit on the beach and watch the
either way,
sunrise
yeah,
and
but
sunsets. But so then it kind of shows Shaheen and Joe bonding with Mitch, and Mitch reveals that he was actually a postman before becoming a teacher.
he was stuttering quite a bit too.
He was
I think he might have been nervous.
Very nervous. I think this whole episode, he had a stutter pretty bad the whole episode. Well, not totally sure where we left off, but I think the last thing I said was that Mitch revealed he was a postman to Shaheen and Joe, and that he was feeling like he needed to do more, so he became a teacher, even though he made more as a postman. And then there's a clip of Joe talking about, man, we got to get him out. And we've been wondering who would be first to say that, and it's kind of surprising that it's Joe.
Joe is the last person I thought would say that, and it's mostly because he feels pretty disconnected from the game, from what I've seen, and I think it's just because he hasn't. Yeah. Well, he just doesn't seem like his head is in the game. Like he's just kind of coasting by. And with today's challenge, he kind of does the same thing. He kind of is proposed an idea to make a bigger move, but it's really like he doesn't care as much because he wins immunity, and he just kind of goes with the safe vote. I mean, everyone on that tribe or everyone on that team makes a safe vote, but it seems like he's not.
I don't know if I would single him out to being not in.
I would say though, for him specifically, it's less of a worry because he obviously has the immunity and he doesn't have to worry about being voted out.
Well, you just mean this one episode or every episode?
This episode, the episode before where he was at tribal, when they blindsided Thomas, he didn't really think much of it. He was like, easy vote, we're getting rid of
Joe?
Kyle. Yeah, Joe.
Oh yeah.
When when Kyle and Camilla blindsided Thomas, he was just kind of like, we're just gonna vote out Kyle.
It was gonna be an easy vote.
That's what I'm saying. So I just feel like he's just kind of been in the mode of like not even considering these other avenues of like gameplay. Like he never thought like, hey, maybe Thomas is a threat, and like it was brought up that he was kind of being suspicious, or it was brought up, Camilla brought up that he was lying about his advantage, and he was still like, nah, whatever. I mean, it's not a huge deal.
That was Shaheen too.
I mean, they both were just like, who cares? Like, it's not that big of a deal. Or I think they made a comment about it, but they didn't really like. The question was never brought up after that. Was like, hey, maybe we should consider Thomas, or maybe we should start thinking about the people around me. You know, he's just kind of been in this mode of like, just kind of passively playing, I feel like.
Mm.
And I think that's just a syndrome of what you get when you are.
I don't even know if you would call it passive playing. I feel like you would call it honest playing because they're on this shtick of honest and loyal,
I suppose I'm.
which is boring gameplay.
It's really boring gameplay and it's really boring narrative.
And and just like you're saying, it's no gameplay.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll get into it when we get to the tribal conversation. But Chrissy actually makes a tremendously great statement about that,
Mhm.
and it really just like speaks volumes to not only this season of Survivor, but just kind of the landscape of reality game shows. I think there's a lot of each season or each show like this kind of has that one group of people or that one person who's just trying to play honestly and is not trying to lie. I think it happens every season on the Traders. That's like their whole thing is about honesty. I don't think it happens as much on the challenge because that's a really trashy show.
I think the one person I can think of playing an honest game would be Horacio.
Horacio, yeah, for sure.
Who has gotten to the final because, right?
He's been in the final one time,
Yeah.
and it was mostly because he just kept winning, and he played. He is at a fault the most honest player to ever play the challenge, and he doesn't backstab. It's honestly very boring political gameplay.
It is,
but
you still love him.
But you love him because it is a breath of fresh air within that show because everyone is playing so dishonest. But for a show like Survivor, I just think it shouldn't be so harped on, especially by the contestants on the show. Like this is a game, or this is a fucking game show for $1 million. It's not like the challenge where you're winning like 250,000 most of the time. This is $1 million, and I feel like to get so worked up about honesty is pretty ridiculous.
It is. And then there's like a kind of a montage of Shaheen talking to a bunch of people. It started with Say, and then it went to like a bunch of people.
This felt like a pretty Shaheen
heavy episode, which like is a lot of going to the editing.
Yeah, a lot of interviews with him, and a lot of him being like, "I think I'm just in the best position right now. I'm in the middle, and everyone's talking to me." Which he's like, I mean, he's right, but it's
he's getting too cocky for me.
I think he's getting too cocky, and I think he's not even aware of Kyle or Camilla.
No, and something
Camilla is not even on his radar.
No, she's really not.
Nowhere, and she's not on anyone's radar. But I think them two are going to be the downfall of Shaheen for sure.
But
they were planting seeds.
Something I noticed was that he was just like picking at his fingers like the whole time he was talking to people, and it was bugging me. He was like, really? When he was talking to Say, he was like picking underneath his nails, and then he was picking at the side of his fingers, and like they kept like zooming in on his fingers, him picking at his fingers. So I noticed that. But so then it's the immunity challenge, and it's the one where they have to hold 25% of their pre-game body weight in a bucket and like hold it with their grip strength.
Yeah.
And they separated them into two different groups, purple and orange.
Which meant that there was going to be, we already mentioned it, a double elimination or double tribal.
So the first group to win would get PB&J, chips, juice. I think that was it.
I don't think they got chips. I think it was just peanut butter and jelly, which is such
I think he said more.
Was there chips? Everyone was just eating peanut butter and jelly.
Peanut butter and jelly was the biggest thing.
And I was just like, the whole time, I'm like, this is not something I'd be excited about.
Well, I mean, Say was super excited about.
Yeah,
like, peanut butter.
I mean, everybody likes
even though she didn't win.
Most people on this show, whenever they do, I mean, obviously it's different. Like, I'm not on a stranded island eating coconuts and cashews. Like, I could have whatever I want, but I don't know. I just never got the hype about the peanut butter challenges.
I would be ecstatic about getting peanut butter.
I mean, yeah, I guess in the context, if you're only eating rations, like a fucking Victorian child, I guess it's a different context.
Their other reward was to go to tribal council second, which would mean that you would make the jury. So the first person voted out would not make the jury. Was the final person to not be on jury. So the orange group was Star, Joe, Mitch, Chrissy, Eva, and Say. And then purple was Kyle, Shaheen, Cedric, Mary, David, and Camilla. And Cedric was out in about 15 seconds.
I think he said 15 seconds, and
First he said 20 seconds, and then later, who was it?
I feel like with the editing, I don't even know if they made a cut from when they start
No,
to when
basically not.
Cedric gets
No.
out. So you can probably time it, and like it's literally like
Immediately.
it's less than 30 seconds,
Yeah.
and it's very embarrassing. We both were commenting like Cedric's gonna be out
I
first.
figured Cedric would be out even before
I
Mary.
thought
Yeah.
I thought he would maybe last. I thought he would maybe last like a minute or two, but like
He knew he was gonna lose, so he just let it go. But he actually looked like he really couldn't even do it.
he was struggling. I think he was
Which
trying to
is
hold it.
just so crazy
He was
that
trying
you
to
don't
he was
have
trying to
grip
crank it
strength
back.
as a doctor, as a surgeon.
Yeah, I guess it's true.
I don't know. I feel like you should have some strength.
Is he a surgeon?
I think he's a surgeon.
Oh, maybe. And I actually figured out on this episode, because he was talking a lot this episode as well. The reason I made the Dr. Burke connection with Cedric is not because of his look so much. I think it's the way he talks. And it's maybe just like Dr. Cadence.
Yeah.
But he sounds like, if you close your eyes, you can honestly picture him as Dr. Burke.
Yeah.
I just need to get that off my chest.
Because he didn't actually look like him.
Oh, yeah. No, I tried finding the best pictures, and I think in certain lightings he does kind of look like him. And I think it is just because they're both traditionally handsome men. But I think he definitely does sound like him. But he gets out first, and then I think shortly after, who is it after that?
I didn't write down who one by
Just
one was
Cedric.
out.
I thought it.
But
I think it was Chrissy, and it was like a minute later.
Yeah,
so she did like double his time.
It went pretty fast, and it got down to Eva versus Joe for the orange, and then for the purple it was Kyle versus David.
And Shaheen was in there for a minute too. It was the three of them for a little bit.
Shaheen didn't even make it to 15 minutes.
He didn't make it to 15 minutes? Oh. I think the editing was really like, I mean, it goes up to about an hour. I think it's just shy under an hour, but the editing is more focused on like the first 15 minutes. I feel like there's a lot of
I felt like the editing
time.
was actually pretty heavy on like the showdown, which ended up
with
being
David and
David and Joe.
Yeah, so
Joe won immunity for orange, David won purple immunity. Also, it was mentioned that Eva is from Minnesota, so we were right about Midwest girl.
I mean,
not surprising
at all.
Yeah, that
was like fork found in the kitchen.
But the other thing was that both David and Joe broke the 38-minute record by far. So they were, nearly an hour.
Did they say who it was that held that record at first?
I think he did say it. I didn't write it down who it was, though.
I wonder how long ago that was, because this is kind of an old challenge, right?
It's been around for a while. So David won the reward for purple, so they're going to immunity or tribal council second.
I feel like we need to talk about the showdown a little bit, because
which part?
Just how much of a fucking clown and ass
David
is.
Yeah.
And like, I get it if your main personality trait is
that you have these biceps.
Yeah,
and that like you're man or whatever.
Stunt man, always working out. Just kind of like a male bimbo.
Basically, it is the two men that drink a gallon of milk every day.
Yeah, so I mean, no fault to them. This isn't just like some fat person ranting about some really beefy guy like doing well. I just think the arrogance, I think they didn't show it, but I think it's going to rub people the wrong way on this season. I feel like if I saw that firsthand, you're not getting my vote.
Although Shaheen was like pumped about seeing it firsthand. He was like,
yeah, he was
I
excited.
Get to see Captain America versus The Rock firsthand.
Yeah, which is
once again commenting on men's bodies.
I just think there's a very different contrast between how Joe handled it. He was pretty much silent the whole time. And it was actually someone else who hung in there, I think even longer than Shaheen, was Kyle. Mm-hmm. Kyle was in there for quite a bit. I think
it was Kyle versus David.
And then it was Eva versus Joe. And all three of them, David, Shaheen, or David, Kyle, and Eva, were all shit talking, and Joe was just kind of like not meditating, but he was just in his own space, like trying to focus.
Yeah, they were having fun shit talking.
He wasn't really engaging in it, and I didn't have a problem then because all three of them are shit talking each other, and it's not like in a mean way. I think, um, but I think when it was just down to two of them, and one is obviously trying to focus, and the other one's just being a cocky asshole, like I think that just honestly killed my appreciation for David. I think he
I
was
don't know that I
already.
had any for
I
him.
think he was already on that track because of his whole honesty shtick.
Yeah.
But I really just like was really annoyed by him by the end of this episode.
And this episode, I actually there was an interview that he did where he said he really wants somebody as a strong player to win. And what I realized was that he doesn't mean an honest
No, he means a
player,
strong
a
person.
strong person.
Yeah, and that I think
Because they're always voted out because
are you
they'll win immunity.
are you talking about the interview on the season? Like when they're
This
doing the
episode.
interviews? Okay, yeah, yeah.
This episode.
I did pick that up, and I'm like, yeah, he just wants a fucking strong person, like a muscly
Yeah.
person.
Yep.
And it's like, yeah, they don't really get that far in the games because their
They do
gameplay.
though, because there are people who like go ahead and win immunity after immunity.
Yeah, that is true. But
so there are some people
their
that get
gameplay is
there.
always one dimensional.
Yeah.
And that's when they're like, all right, he lost, let's get him out. Like that's what happened last season with that one guy who won like 5 in a row. And I just think I can't think off of the top of my head any like dominant players who also had a good strategic game. I would say Kyle is on track. I think he already won an immunity. He seems to be pretty good at these challenges.
Yeah.
I
think Kyle's lucky to have Camilla though.
Yeah, I think he would be in a very different boat if it was. I mean, he wouldn't have even unlocked his idol probably.
No. And I was gonna mention that I think I only remember Jeff asking Joe what mindset he was in during the challenge. And he was asking like, what were you thinking about? What was motivating you?
Joe?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was his kids.
It was his kids, but I don't remember him asking David.
No, because all he would probably say is my trailer park.
Muscles.
My muscles and my milk and the trailer park that I'm in, or the trailer.
My 4 nipples.
The trailer that I'm in, yeah.
There was a shot of him like putting his arm back because he was constantly.
Oh yeah, that was the other thing. And Joe was doing it, but it seemed like
he was just resting his.
Yeah, it seemed
grip.
Actually like a smart strategic move because both his arms weren't gassed out because he was dividing it equally.
He was letting one rest.
Yeah, which if you're able to do that, you should.
And David was just being an asshole. At one point he went like this.
Yeah, David was just doing it to be an ass.
Yeah.
And
so then Orange, because they lost, they had to go back to the old Siva tribe beach until tribal council. So they basically had nothing with them. And then I don't have too many notes, just Say is going for Mitch. Eva wants to go for Say, but is open to Mitch. She sees that both of them, she had voted for Say before, so she's obviously wanting Say, but she can see that Mitch is somebody that she should be looking out for or like looking to get
pretty much everyone they show, each team, they're just showing like, yeah, Cedric's the obvious vote, or yeah, Say's the obvious vote,
but then they like bring in somebody else and
but then
think
like
that it's possible.
Well, actually it might be better to get Shaheen out, or actually it might be better to get Mitch out. And they actually showed in the preview of last episode for this new episode, the one that we're watching, they show Camilla said we're gonna frame Shaheen, and nothing comes from that.
I mean, maybe. We'll see.
I mean, it might in the long term, but for this episode, nothing happened.
Well,
all that was really, it was just a seed planted into David's head. Like,
so what happened was Camilla told David that Shaheen has an idol, or she thinks that he has an idol, and obviously he doesn't. But David seemed to believe that. But I feel like he's probably going to ask Shaheen at some point, "Do you have an idol?"
Yeah.
But we've seen on Survivor, like, lies like that can be something that grows,
Yeah, and I think I would have really loved to see David get blindsided. That's where I thought this was going, is that they were going to get Mary to vote for Shaheen instead of Cedric.
They should have gotten Mary to vote for Shaheen.
And I think they could have.
I don't even know why that didn't seem to be addressed.
Yeah, they didn't even talk to her, actually. No one talked to Mary,
Well, I
actually.
think because it wasn't a legit plan.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like they from even the preview before, and then this episode when you're watching it, they're really building it up like it's actually going to be put into effect, and then you get to the votes, and it's a fucking landslide on Cedric.
On Cedric, well, first it was Orange. So Orange went to tribal first. So it was Say.
I would say they voted
Yeah.
Say, and that was again another one where even Chrissy brought up, like, hey, maybe like if we get to the end, we're gonna look at everyone's story, and everyone's gonna see Mitch's story, and they're gonna want him to win.
Except she didn't point out Mitch. I mean, she pointed him out before they went to tribal, I guess.
She said
She was open to voting for Mitch.
she said Mitch is a threat, and like
All of them said Mitch was a threat.
Yeah, all of them had that idea, and this is honestly the perfect opportunity to get him out. He wouldn't be on jury, and he is just he's gonna be too much of a threat in the trial in the final three if he gets there. Obviously, he has to get there first, but um, he's just a very I don't know about a persuasive guy because he has been on the outs of every
He's
vote.
just such a nice guy
He's such a nice guy that it's like you don't want to blindside him, and especially when you have all these people on this island who are like about honesty and not backstabbing. I can't really see them doing that to Mitch, at least not yet. Because I feel like this would have been the time to do it.
Yeah,
I think it's possible to do it down the line, but this was the prime opportunity.
This would have been better. Yeah.
Because it's less people that can intervene with the vote. All they had to do was just talk to each other, and it seems like they were, but they still collectively said Say is more of a threat, even though if Say makes it, I don't even know
if they said she was more of a threat.
They just don't like her.
They're just annoyed by her.
They're just annoyed by her, and it's like, guys, if she makes it to top 3, you're not voting for her.
Well,
so why does it matter?
She wouldn't even make it to top 3. Like she would be out next vote. They were like worried about her being on the jury, which like what is she gonna do on the jury? Like,
yeah, like literally, what she's gonna vote for Cedric, who's not gonna make it to top 3.
She wouldn't even vote for Cedric because she hates him.
Yeah, that's true. Like there's literally, I don't know. I just think
I think they made the wrong choice.
If you're a good game player, you want Say on the jury because she's going to be looking for the good players.
Yeah, she would.
She's not gonna, she doesn't have any alliances at this point. She's a vote you want because she doesn't have any attachments to anybody besides maybe Mary. I think I could see her voting for Mary, even if unless Mary has like a really shit game and she's just a goat. I can see her not voting for Mary, but if Mary like slightly does more throughout this season, I can see her voting for Mary. That's the only person.
Yeah, I think they made the wrong choice. But that tribal was where Chrissy pointed out, like, being honest and loyal are not aspects of this game. Like, it is $1 million game. We should not be playing like why is that even a topic in Survivor? Like, you have to make cuts.
There's literally no scenario where you can't get through this game without lying to somebody.
Yeah, and you have to build your resume. Like, you can't just get to the end and not have a resume.
Yeah, and she said we're just gonna vote on who has the best story and who we like the most.
Yeah,
like that's just what this game has come to, and I think conversations like that makes me appreciate Survivor a little bit more. And I think when it's at its 48th season, I appreciate it that it's gotten more meta. I think with its conversations about the climate of the show, the current era they're in. Even like small
they talk
things
about it all the time.
Yeah, and even like small things like Shaheen mimicking the soundtrack to the
that was pretty funny.
I just think I appreciate those meta moments. Also, Kyle telling Jeff like, "Oh, this is the perfect time to get people to."
I can see the ad now.
Yeah, I can see the ad now. Like, get off the couch and get on Survivor, and they do it during the challenge. And
it was pretty funny. He was like, "Well, let's do it right now."
Yeah, and I appreciate that aspect of the show that is meta and that there's actually conversations about the show
because they do it for the fans.
Yeah,
I mean, a huge part of Survivor is for the fans.
It feels like a show that is ran by fans of the show. Like the contestants are fans. Jeff is the biggest fan of the show, and I think I appreciate that the most about this show. I just hate the direction it goes sometimes, especially with the editing and with
I think
some of the contestants.
Yeah, I think the editing is getting a little bit out of control with leading us. And
yeah, like 3 days ago or three episodes ago, they just straight up lied.
Yeah. So then Purple was at Tribal, and Say had her vote blocked by Mitch, and then literally every single person voted for Say.
Yeah, so I don't even think there was a point to do that unless she played her shot in the dark, which
Yeah.
probably wouldn't have worked anyway. But
Yeah.
I
I think that's all that he was preventing, even though I don't think that she would have.
I think she probably would have voted for, because it seemed like that was the consensus. Like, okay, maybe we're actually considering Mitch, but like that's not how the votes panned out. Like nobody voted for Mitch.
Yeah.
Not even Say, because she couldn't vote.
Yeah. So then Cedric was voted out. Oh wait, I said Say for Purple. She was in the orange. Was what I meant.
Siva.
Yeah, but it wasn't called Siva. It was just orange.
Well, they went to the Siva tribe.
Yeah. And then Cedric was voted out for Purple, and I didn't even make any notes on their tribal because it was just like whatever.
I don't even remember what they said.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I don't even
either.
remember what they were discussing, but it was all honestly all bullshit. Like, who was it? Star, Joe, Eva, just like people who are not thinking. Like
They're not playing
they're not
the
thinking long
game.
term.
Like, yeah, I don't see how they're going to. Yeah, I don't know. I am kind of bored of them already. Like,
I'm bored of the main group, which is
Joe,
Joe,
Shaheen,
David,
David,
and Eva.
and Eva.
Those four are boring the fuck out of me, and they're
Yeah.
like the stars of the show at this point.
And Kyle is actually in that group too.
Kyle is a little bit, and
But Kyle knows that he's a liar.
yeah, and he's not. I mean, he's lying to everyone, saying that he's playing an honest game, but he's playing a very dishonest game. Which is the only honestly, if Kyle and Camilla were not on the season, I might drop it. Like it's really that bad.
I definitely wouldn't stop watching it because I'm a true fan of Survivor, but it would be one of the more boring seasons.
I would honestly be on my phone significantly more, like scrolling through Instagram or Twitter or whatever, if they weren't on this season, because they're the only ones kind of going against the grain at this point. Chrissy is saying she wants to, but she's not doing anything. There are plenty of people on this season saying that they need to build a resume and that they need to do this and they need to start making moves, and no one is really doing it besides Camilla and Kyle and Say is now gone.
Yeah, I think Chrissy's open to it. I think that if
But what is she gonna do? She has no influence in this game.
She really needs to get aligned with Camilla, and then I think that
they could do
Camilla
something.
and Kyle. I think that those three
they
could really do stuff, and because Chrissy, part of saying like being honest and loyal are not aspects of the game, she went off on a rant of like, you know, that she will have to lie to people. She will be willing to do that stuff, and she will do it one day, but not tonight, is what she said.
Yeah, she said, but not tonight. I'm just gonna do the safe vote.
Yeah, so
which is what they did.
We'll see if she gets herself aligned with some strategic people.
That's just at this point where it's like no one really has the influence to do anything about this current trajectory of the season.
I think it's got to be one of the strong people to get voted out next. And I just wanted to go over who's left again, because I really feel like nobody is thinking strategically.
Honestly, this whole episode, I was looking for Bianca, and I realized that she got voted out like 5 episodes ago. And I was like, oh my god, that's how fucking boring this season has been. Is that like I tuned out that Bianca was voted out, and that was just because of her character. She made no impact on the season.
And yet you were thinking about her.
Well, because I kept thinking about her every episode. It's like because there was such a point where she was in the background, and then you start looking for her, like Waldo.
She was the one that lost her vote, and Cedric ended up telling Chrissy. So then the two of them voted for her.
I wouldn't have never gotten to that point if you didn't say that right now. I literally did not remember any of that until right now.
Yeah, I really feel like Kyle and Camilla, and then if Chrissy can be brought into that, they would be the only ones thinking strategically.
If they vote out Camilla next episode, it's curtains. This season, we gotta scrap it.
Yeah, I wouldn't even really want to see Joe or Eva win, honestly. Like
at this point, no. If they make it to top 3, I don't even know.
I feel like if they don't get one of the strong players out, like Kyle, Shaheen, which Shaheen, I mean, is he really even like a strong player?
Well, they kept hyping him up in this episode because he's like, oh, I'm just in the best spot possible. Like,
I think David's got to go next episode. He's got to go.
well, I think the preview did show people getting annoyed by David. They
Really?
did show more conflict between the main people.
Yeah. Well, just Kyle and Camilla really need to infiltrate that and get it started.
All they need
getting
is
them
Mitch and
out.
Chrissy, and then they're
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
And
So
Mary.
and Mary. So I guess we'll see. Hopefully something starts to actually happen because yeah, this season will be really boring without
This is on track to being my
anything.
least favorite season.
Yeah,
out
even
of
though
the new
there's like
era.
all this like like Eva with her autism, Mitch with his speech impediment, like all that stuff is real world stuff brought into the game. And so they've really been hyping that up. So it does make me think that there is less gameplay to be watched.
That's what I'm saying. It's they're highlighting these moments that, you know, journalists are going to pick up on and talk about, like, oh my God, there's this empowering episode of Survivor.
Yeah.
When there's like, what was like, how was the episode? Like, what was the vote like? Well, I mean, what strategic moves are made? Like,
they are focusing way too much on that currently.
It really does feel like it's getting watered down for me personally.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying.
And I think it's just from my trauma of watching the challenge for as long as I have. That was such a ruthless, cutthroat show, and like, I think this season of All Stars 4 is a little more cutthroat because it was a lot of divas, on this season. I mean, Frank was just lying through his teeth, and I think was.
We actually need to watch that.
That is true. I think it's the final.
I think it's the final. They'll probably put it in 2 parts, even though it's the most. Yeah. It's been the most boring season for me. All the good players were cut right away.
That is true.
We have fucking Frank and Sam in the final. Like,
yeah.
How the hell did Sam make it to the final?
It's really gonna be. I guess we should just make our prediction right now, real quick. Honestly, it's gonna be a landslide with. Who is Adam and Steve? They're just gonna win. Nani kept saying it the whole season. You guys really want to run a final against Adam and Steve, the people who have eliminated every single person in the fucking challenge.
That's funny. You got to include our challenge prediction in our Survivor episode.
I almost brought up fucking Below Deck because that was also crazy, but I'm not even gonna get into that.
Man, we should have moments for other shows.
We should have started Reality Armchair for Below Deck.
Yeah,
I feel like
this season of Below Deck is pretty good.
It started off a little slow, but it's. I think this is the most. No, I think that one season where that guy was trying to. Sleep with that one drunk girl who's. Like, I mean,
literally would have had the police or not police.
The producers.
The cameraman not stopped him.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy. But that was like one moment. I feel like this whole season has been building up to this moment. But for the challenge, just real quick. Who is it? Fucking the 2 people who can't speak English.
Melissa and Nicole.
Because
their accents.
Not because
understand them.
Not because they're foreigners, but because well, one of them is British, but they sound like they have
and Nicole's
marbles
from
in their mouth.
What, Brooklyn?
She's from Brooklyn, and she doesn't sound like she's from this country. She sounds like it's her third language.
Awful. She sounds so awful. And she 100% is gonna cheat on her girlfriend.
I think she has.
If she hasn't already,
she has a different baby mama at this, or she is the baby mama. But she has a different girlfriend that they showed on this season. They showed a white girl, and I think she's dating a Hispanic girl now. Yeah. But they have no chemistry within gameplay. They have no chemistry with each other. They suck. Shane and Davon. Shane is just.
Did they actually make it?
Yeah, they made it.
Yeah.
He keeps getting his own way, and they're just not built to run a final, in my opinion.
This is the most boring season of the challenge for me.
And then who is it? Frank and Sam. Sam is possibly the worst.
She is going to be berated by Frank.
Oh yeah,
even though they shouldn't have even made it to the final, he's still gonna berate her, and we saw that. That's exactly why they are rivals.
We saw that, like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
When him and Zach were like verbally abusing her.
Yeah.
And Zach was actually pushing her. And that one was a really grueling challenge, or a really grueling final. And this is going to be like a senior citizen final, but Still, I don't think she's gonna be able to run it. I think
No,
they
she
did the first
won't.
challenge and she was gassed out in
The
like 10
only
seconds.
reason they got a star was because they kept throwing in challenges that were not physical.
Yeah, and then the one time that
And it was also for the one. What is her name?
Veronica,
Yeah. Yeah.
you could have said the bustier woman.
Busty.
Yeah, that for some reason on this season they have they make them wear the same outfit for all of their interviews, so it seems like it's filmed all in the same day, which
And
it
she
might be.
chose quite the
Her and Ashley chose an outfit with their boobs are
good
just like
lord,
all
just
out,
out.
and
Just
Ashley's nipples were just like nippling everywhere. So they were stuck with that outfit for the entire season, and Veronica is just fucking pure evil.
And it's an orange shirt, and yeah, it's just like a super deep V cut, like
Yeah.
just straight up like that. And yeah, she
sucks.
sucks.
Her
I'm
and
so
Sam
over
suck.
her.
And their whole strategy was, we're not even going to get into elimination, which you have to do to win. We're going to throw in
Well, they got
people.
opportunities to win stars, which is what Frank and Sam did. They never
And
went into
Shane and Devon.
Yeah.
But they won. Frank and Sam won their challenge on some bullshit like eating challenge, I think is what it was. Or it was a quiz challenge or something like that. It was
I don't even remember. It had nothing to do with being strong. Or
it was
like
complete.
endurance.
It was a fluke. So they're not gonna win. They're gonna get dead last.
Anyways,
and
I think we already made our prediction. Adam and Steve
is where I was gonna get at. And they deserve it. I mean, they took out everybody.
They really did. They dominated this season.
I think they were
in elimination like 6 times.
There was 2 challenges where they weren't in it. 2 eliminations they weren't in it. It was because they won one. They won one and they were protected by Veronica. So overall, I don't know what my point was, but
the point is Survivor was too boring to not talk about the challenge at the end of this.
And slightly below deck. Do they? I don't know. Do they do? I didn't watch the season before because this is what, season 3
of Below Deck.
Yeah.
Oh no, this is like 7 or 8.
Has it always been these group of people?
No.
So when has it been? Lanky guy.
Harry.
I
think this is his 2nd season, 2nd or 3rd.
And then the girl, who was the girl that was all up on him this episode?
The girl, Zarina. Zarina. I think this is maybe her 2nd.
Okay, so
season.
is this?
There are some people that go on for multiple seasons.
Okay, so has a captain been on every season?
No.
So when did they switch captains?
Like 2 seasons ago.
Okay.
2 or 3.
So when they switch captains, Harry's been with that same captain?
I think so. So the captain is actually from Below Deck Down Under. So he was for the Australian team. And then...
What are we watching? Are we watching Down Under?
This is Below Deck.
This is just Below Deck? No, this is Down Under.
Is it Down Under?
I think it's Down Under.
See, I kind of lost track of Below Deck. So they have too many, like...
I've only seen 2 seasons, and one of them was a woman captain. And the other one is this guy.
I think that I want to say this is the regular one.
I don't think so. I think it's Down Under. But either way, so with this new captain, who is his name? What's his name?
Hot Pants.
No, it's not his name. What is his name?
I honestly can't remember.
Well, this captain has most of the people that are on this season been with this captain from the start? Because I know, like, obviously the sous chef.
No, he worked with Aisha. Aisha was his chief stew for his first like 2 or 3 seasons. Oh.
So he's been on multiple seasons, not just 2.
Peacock. Yeah, it is Down Under.
I knew it. And that's Australian, right? Down Under.
Then who? Oh, okay. I was thinking of the bald guy. They replaced the old captain on the regular Below Deck because he was an old fart and he retired. And they replaced him. So
I like this captain. He's very chill.
I think the only series, well, actually there's 2. No, 3. So Below Deck Mediterranean, Sailing Yacht, and Down Under have had the same captains. So Sandy is for the Mediterranean. Below Deck Sailing Yacht is... Oh, I can't remember.
And I honestly never saw the appeal. I saw a few episodes before getting invested into this new season, and I always thought, like, it's just like kind of just Jersey Shore on a boat. except not as trashy. I mean, if you're,
It can be pretty dang
it
trashy
can, but I mean, if we're talking about the greatest moments of Jersey Shore, I mean that's like peak television.
for
That's never
sure.
going to be topped. But
Because it was like one of the first reality shows that was like that extreme.
that was that like graphic. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I always think about. I just need to get this off my chest again. My favorite moment of any show of I think all time is Mike the Situation riling himself up so much that he headbutts a wall in
Oh my
Italy,
God. Yeah.
and the walls in Italy or in just Europe in general are made out of brick, and he's used to drywall, so he's a drywall kind of guy where he just like punches holes in walls and shit. So he throws his neck or his head into the to the fucking brick wall, and immediately is like, whoa.
Whoa.
And then they show him in the interview, and he's got a fucking thing around his neck. It's one of the greatest moments of
He
television
needed that
history.
wake up call.
Yeah, it was one
Yeah.
of the greatest moments of television history, and um, I feel like the last season I saw of Below Deck, it just kind of felt like there was one moment that was like standout, which was the guy almost woman.
Last season.
Not the last season I saw,
Hmm.
um, but with this new season, I feel like there's been a lot of
This new
um,
season is more like Below
interesting
Deck used to be. Yeah.
interesting plots, I guess. Um,
Well, we just saw Weehan not speak out that he wasn't Johnny,
yeah, straight
and
up had his groping her low key, like had
literally
her.
like saw him grab her boob while she got
Yeah,
up in the bed.
and
But
there's
my question
really.
is, doesn't she remember which bed Johnny was sleeping in? Like, why did she even go to Weehan's bed?
I thought it was a little weird, but I also thought that there's no justifying that because he obviously knew what was
Yeah,
happening.
and he was not asleep.
Yeah,
We
and
saw him laying in his bed, and then she comes in and she's like, Johnny, Johnny. And then he just like is like, hmm? And he's trying to talk
he's
quietly enough that she won't notice that it's Weehan.
yeah, and I think had uh, uh,
Had Johnny,
had Johnny not came in, he would have just laid down and been like chill with that.
he would have been like all up on her. And I feel like he was settling into just like listening to her and just like holding her, and
Yeah,
it is disturbing
he is.
what these men will still do while they're on camera.
Yeah, he's pretty irredeemable and kind of a piece of shit.
He's
And I
a
don't
super
really
piece of shit.
normally don't like saying that about reality TV people because
But I feel like Below Deck is one that like a lot of these people
that's
are,
them.
yeah, like they are themselves.
Yeah, that's why I'm like I don't like Say in the beginning of this season of Survivor, but that's just because I didn't like the gameplay she was doing, and I thought she was being obnoxious.
Who?
And Say,
Oh, yeah.
and like I didn't like Say because of the way she was approaching the game. But obviously, that's not who she is in real life. I mean, she's not malicious in that way. I mean, maybe she could be, but that's just her portrayal as someone trying to win $1 million. These people are not playing for $1 million. They're working a fucking job for like
Yeah, they get tips, but
tips, yeah.
yeah.
And there was no incentive to do that. That was
Except for
just
being on reality TV.
that was just him, yeah, and he's just being a sleazeball.
I think that he's probably one of the worst we've seen, besides the guy that tried to fucking
I
the
mean, yeah,
girl. But
besides that guy who like was literally about to do it,
mm-hmm.
this has been pretty bad. I think he's only because he hasn't gotten the opportunity to do it. It's been pretty bad, and I think this whole season is just a piece of shit.
I guess we'll have to put a disclaimer now on that section.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna put a big.
Also, put a big like if you don't want to hear talk about any
Yeah,
other reality
I'm gonna put
TV,
a
cut it
big
off
big
now.
timestamp and probably like um title card in between that.
Yeah,
Um, I think that's all we have to say about this. I mean, it was so fucking boring that we started rambling about two
I'm just
different
so mad
shows.
that it was Say and Cedric, and now Mary's the last
Yeah,
of
that was the other
the.
thing is that it's now just Mary, and
Yep.
it's like what's the.
But I'm glad out of all the people that she's the last survivor.
I think it's poetic because it was really looking like she was going to be on the outs
Voted out
most.
very quickly.
I mean, from the start.
Yeah,
And that's usually kind of how it happens. Usually, there's somebody who,
makes it through.
because they're just like um, on such a shitty tribe, and then they start
Yeah.
eating each other alive, and they're just kind of like in the background. Um, but yeah, that was this episode of Survivor season 48,
Episode
episode
7.
7. Um,
I think that's it.
I'm so defeated, honestly. I think I don't even look forward to editing this. It's just such a lame episode. It's like um I'm pretty close,
Well, you can watch her boob the whole time.
I guess. But I just feel like I'm so close to not caring about this season. I feel like
I would give it, you know,
I'm giving it 2 more episodes before I'm like, I don't care.
I need to start seeing some gameplay, but
Yeah, I think obviously because now
are you
jury.
keeping this in?
Yeah, I think obviously now because jury is in effect. It's
Jury will maybe make it more
I
interesting.
think so, but if it ends up being fucking Joe and Eva and David in the final 3, I'm gonna blow my brains out.
That would be
Honestly,
pretty wild. I don't see how that can happen, honestly.
I don't.
I think that Camilla's smart enough that she's gonna be like, nah, something's gonna happen right now.
Yeah, I would.
So
I mean,
whoever from that alliance doesn't get immunity, we are voting out. And she will band together Chrissy, Mitch, Mary. Like they're all on the outs.
that's true, and I think the circumstances would have to be so severe to where they would.
I think the only mistake she could make is telling Star, because Star seems like she's on the outs, maybe, unless she's been more vocal than we see about being like
And that's the
aligned with
problem is that I
Eva.
don't. I don't feel like I'm getting the whole story here. I
Yeah,
feel like we're getting bits and pieces,
yeah.
which obviously when you have the cameras on 24/7 on a cast of people, like you're obviously not going to get every detail about their conversations and all that. But I just feel like we're just not getting most of the picture because we're hearing certain things and then we get to the result of a decision like the tribal and it's completely different from what we've been hearing.
Mm.
It's like
Well,
where were you guys like 5 minutes ago talking about, oh, actually Mitch is a big threat.
yeah, I don't. I think that they just want that shock value for the audience, but I feel like the audience wants to know what's going to happen. Like,
A little bit,
or
and I was shocked in a way where it's like, yeah, you guys hyped me up to think that we're gonna actually make a move, and then we're not.
yeah,
Like that was the shock.
yeah.
Like that's a lame shock. A good shock is when someone throws a shot in the dark and
I
they get
wonder
it.
how you'd feel if you'd seen more seasons of Survivor, because this isn't
Well,
necessarily like that shocking.
I've seen like the what's considered the golden era, which is I mean I haven't seen the golden era. I've seen one of the golden seasons, which is the hero and villains one. I think that's a widely. I literally looked up
Yeah,
multiple lists
yeah,
of
we
like
watched according to a list of
what
like
is
the
the
best
best survivor
seasons.
or what is the best survivor season, and there was multiple lists that had that season as the number one, and I honestly think that season was good. It was good. It wasn't great. It
I
wasn't.
feel like from my experience of watching Survivor for so many years, which has been a lot since I was pretty young, like I can't say exactly how old, like maybe 7 or 8, but um
That is
I
crazy.
I
I
know.
mean,
I
like
know.
that's a long time.
It's a long time. Um I feel like there's moments of feeling like, "Oh my god, that was an amazing episode." Not necessarily like an entire season, but I feel like because I've watched the show evolve so much, like I still have a lot of respect for it and I think it's a great show. But yeah, overall, like there's mostly just amazing tribals that happen and it's not like back to back to back.
That
Like,
is true. I think like some of the greatest moments was who was it? Kylan. He did his shot in
mm,
the dark. That was an all timer.
his name is not Kylan.
It's not Kylan. It's what is it again? I keep getting him confused with the challenge.
I don't remember.
But
I sent you the video.
yeah, that guy used a shot in the dark, worked great.
Mhm.
Um,
That was probably like one of the more memorable moments for me. And the
of
shot in
that
the
season
dark
too.
was, yeah. Yeah. But shot in the dark was only introduced like not that long ago.
Yeah,
And this new era of Survivor has completely changed the game, really. How they
yeah.
play.
I would honestly say, I mean, this is from the perspective of somebody who's maybe seen 10 seasons. I don't even think that's true. Like
I think you've probably
ballpark,
seen around 10.
ballpark around 10 seasons. And like from a, I think decent variety. I haven't really seen like the first season or like the first 5 seasons, but I think the earliest I've seen is probably season 10, which I think is Heroes and Villains. Um, I think the best one I've seen is the one with Michelle and Ty.
Mm.
I think there was some really good villains on that season. That guy literally threw a machete out of the camp, and he was like
Yeah.
burning their food. Um, like you don't really get villains like that anymore.
Mm.
I think the closest, well, I think he was even before that was Russell. Russell was also just like rotten.
Russell was fairly early on.
Yeah, and I think those are what make the best seasons. In this new era of Survivor, you're not getting that. You're never gonna get another Russell. You're never gonna get another jockey asshole who's gonna throw away the machete, who's gonna throw their food away, who's gonna like throw challenges.
No, because David has to be honest and loyal.
You're literally never gonna get that again. If you wanted that, it's gone. Go watch the challenge. Like that's my issue with Survivor at this point is that it's you know what it's gonna be, and
Kind of. I
that's what it's
mean,
gonna
I
be for a
think that they're
while.
trying to surprise people with more gameplay rather than
And with moments like, oh,
yeah,
Eva is revealing her autism in such
yeah.
an empowering.
And I will say they are creating those moments. Like,
And it's gonna be positive for people who need to see it. I'm at a point where I don't need to see it. I've overcome my journey with autism.
overcome your
I've
journey.
not overcome it, but I've dealt with it. I've known I've had this diagnosis for years. I've worked on it.
Yeah, but
There's never an end with the progress, but I'm not at a point where like I needed that episode.
it's
Obviously,
not for you
that's what I'm
though.
saying though. It's not for me though. There's going to be another kid who's like 10 years old who's going to see
Yeah.
that, and it's going to be life changing for them,
That's
and that
who
is
Jeff is
awesome.
thinking about.
Awesome. But I am 23, and I just want a good old decent show with a fucking villain, and Say is the closest thing, and she's not even that like villainous really.
Mm-hmm.
I want a Russell. And I think that's just my biggest gripe with Survivor at this point is that you just know where it's going to go, and that you can feel it in the air that this is going to be the next like 5 years of Survivor. I
Yeah,
don't
I
really
do feel like
know.
it's not going many
I don't really
places.
know what change is going to happen.
So I would have been, I want to clarify, I would have been like 9 or 10 when I first started watching it. I'm not that old, but I am pretty old.
I mean, that's a long time. I mean, that's about as long as I've been watching the
The
challenge.
first season was in 2000.
It's a long time.
Mm-hmm. And I don't think that we started watching season 1. I think it was like season 2 maybe. But yeah, watched it for pretty much since the beginning.
Survivor's always been a show that I've been aware of, like consciously, but I've never tapped into until I met Ariel. I just kind of always heard about it, and I didn't know how big it was
Well, and vice
until.
versa with the challenge.
Yeah, it was just like a show that was well for you. You didn't even know about the
I didn't even
challenge.
know about the challenge.
For me, I remember these shows being like just on for literally as long as I've been alive, like that and Naked and Afraid. I think I've seen one episode of that show, and that's a huge show, and also like Amazing Race, and Big Brother. Big Brother is
I
huge.
don't understand the appeal of
Big Brother is huge. It's a huge show.
but
It's
I
like
don't understand it.
it's in the top 3 of like biggest competitor shows of all
Yeah,
time.
but I
And
haven't liked a single contestant we've seen from another
every single
series
person that has infiltrated my show or my favorite shows like The Challenge
or the traders.
or The Traders that come from Big Brother are just the worst.
Mm-hmm.
Josh, maybe the worst. He's probably contender for the worst person.
I mean, besides Danielle.
Danielle. Oh, Danielle's just despicable.
Yeah.
Actually despicable.
Well, like actually so dumb.
Who, Danielle?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, she's a terrible trader and just like a despicable person. Like
Yeah.
honestly, if I saw her in the streets, I might spit in her face. Like that's how I feel. I'm like for real, like shooting for Carolyn after that season. But
I think that is the trader shows that the contestants that are casted for Survivor versus Big Brother, like obviously by far are way better people.
oh yeah, and I mean even the challenge too. I mean, there's only been 4 people that have been from the challenge. And
Wes did not do himself any favors.
he did not. I think I don't know.
He
What the
kind
fuck
of
he was
revealed that
doing.
he's even more of an asshole than you might have thought from watching the
If
challenge.
you've never seen the challenge and you watch Wes on that season,
you'd be like, "What the fuck?
why would I ever watch this guy?"
Yeah.
But like I feel bad for Bananas because he didn't even get an opportunity to really do anything.
I feel like he deserved that for
Well,
his ego.
I was gonna say I don't even feel bad actually. He deserved that, but man,
we're just dragging this out.
yeah, we really are. I feel like I have a lot to say about the current landscape about reality TV, at least competitive reality TV.
Well, we could just make a different
I guess we
episode.
should make an episode where we talk about the landscape of it because I feel like it's going into a certain direction that I'm not liking because I'm seeing it in every facet of these shows that I watch. Like, I think the only one I'm seeing is or that it's not happened to yet is the Traders, and that's only because it's been 3 seasons of it for the UK and the American version. I think it's been going on longer for sure with like New Zealand, which I think is where it originated from, but um, I think that show is too new to really be tainted by this new era of survivor or competitive reality TV, which I feel like has infiltrated every series.
I'd
Besides maybe
actually like to see a little more gameplay in the traders, though. Like,
that is true. There's a lot of people that they get like from reality, or they get from like real world. No, not real world.
the Real
Real
Housewives.
Housewives, and they're just the dumbest fucking people you've ever seen. And they're always like, who's that one guy who fucking hosts the reunion? Where he's
Andy
like
Cohen.
Andy Cohen. He's like, they're actually not as dumb as you think
He
they
is
are.
he is fucking dumb though, so that's why he thinks that they're not dumb.
And he's always like,
But that's literally the only show he actually watches.
yeah,
So
and
he is super invested in the Real Housewives, and then he also hosts the Traders, Below Deck, and nobody likes him as a host for those shows because he doesn't watch it. It drives me crazy.
yeah, and I think that was also another big issue I had with the challenge reunions was they're not hosted by people who watch the show.
Mm-hmm.
Like Marina Menunez, are you serious? You think she watches the show? Or there's another girl that was just horrible. I think the only person that did it justice was the Miz, who was actually on the challenge. And then obviously like Love Is Blind and Survivor is actually hosted by the host. The
Yeah,
reunions are hosted by the
but
host.
nobody likes the hosts of Love Is Blind either.
Yeah, they suck. They're literally not even hosts. They're just like
They're producers.
yeah, pretty much like just kind of the face.
I
And they haven't
think
even done a Survivor reunion in a minute, right?
Survivor.
Oh no, they do the reunion after.
Yeah, it's right after the
Well,
vote.
because I we were watching earlier seasons like midway through its series run, um, where they were making a big spectacle about it, where they like were like
Yeah,
we're live in Los Angeles and
yeah.
we're doing that. They don't do that anymore.
No, they changed it, and
I
that's
pref-
why for season 50 is being voted. Do you want the live
I
in
do want
Los
the live.
Angeles? Well, then you
What
voted for that.
did you
I
vote for
think
the
I
live?
voted the opposite.
I
I'm actually fine with them okay, actually what I want is both. I would like the moment after
it needs to
they
marinate.
just voted. Let me finish. I would like the moment after they just finished where they haven't had like outside media influence to
Yeah,
how they view their own game and how the jury views their game. So I think that that moment is special that they haven't had that. So I would like to see a little bit of that. But then I would also like to see the live in Los Angeles with everyone back.
I think it could be. I think it could be split because um, there is enough material for both, and I think when it's one way or the other, it gets dragged a little bit. I don't think as much because it's. Do they do another episode like after they decide the winner? Do they do another episode, or is it like that same
It's an
episode?
extended finale.
So it's a long. It's like 2 hours.
It's a longer
Okay,
episode.
so I think
And it's
that's
always been that way.
yeah. Well, because it's like
Even with live.
well because they do like two challenges before, right? It's like a double
It
episode.
starts with like 6 or 5 people left.
Yeah, and then they do
And
a
then by the
tribal,
end,
and then they do the
you see
final tribal.
the reunion.
Yeah, which I think I miss the live aspect because you get to marinate with the decision. But I also do appreciate like right after, like get everyone's raw thoughts.
I think I like the fact because with live in Los Angeles, the winner didn't find out until then.
That too. I mean,
I didn't like that.
I was yeah, that's how Michelle won. But like, I think if I were on that show, if I was on the show during that era, I don't think I could handle it. That
Right?
pressure of like
Exactly.
not knowing if I
Yeah.
won or not.
So I would like both. I would like when they find out, they have that little powwow after, and then have the live with everyone. and we get to see everybody dressed up and
Yeah, because when they do that, we're not gonna get to see Say during the end,
exactly.
which I think is bullshit.
Mm.
Why do I gotta hear Cedric talk? I don't need to hear Cedric talk at the end. He
That
didn't do
is
anything.
true. That is very true. All right, she's moving. It's time to go.
All right, we're wrapping it up. Vienna says it's time to go.